Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone in the room, all the kings and queens who are with us today. We greet you with our revolutionary greetings from the African Continental Unity Party by saying that peace and love, freedom and decolonization, and welcome to our Wednesday session where we meet here every Wednesday at this hour to discuss or to have a conversation about our own reality as African people. You see, for the whole week, we are being exposed to the international propaganda. Sometimes we don't realize it, but there's a powerful propaganda that is being funded at the level of billions of US dollars to control and to manipulate and to direct the mindset of an African person so that we can get comfortable with the reality in which we are living in today. Because if they let us think, do some thinking on our own, well, is a very dangerous situation. So they have to control our mind, and media is one of the ways of getting that done. And I'm telling you, there are billions of dollars being used, funded every time to create the narrative that is being fed on you and I every single day. So it is very important that we create our own alternative platforms to discuss things that are important to us as African people. If we don't have that alternative, then we are doomed to consume the narrative created by the imperialist powers, and that can only train our mind towards defeats rather than towards victory, towards unity, towards reconstruction of Africa as a global power base. So it is a great time every Wednesday when we are here to talk about Africa and to share ideas, not just to listen to one person, but to have a chance also to participate in the conversation. And it is powerful for you to have this platform where people are listening to you. So don't take it lightly. You are very much encouraged to bring in your thoughts, your idea, anything that you understand that you want to talk about this specific topic, so that at the end of the session, we are all enriched with so much wisdoms in terms of the people we have in this room today. So thank you very much for your time today. As you can see from the title, we are talking today about SANKOFA, back to the roots, and our own King Koveya is going to take us into this topic to explain to us what is SANKOFA means and how do we make that shift, of going back to the roots. And this reminds me of a statement by Sheikh Anta Diop, a powerful statement that he said that it doesn't really matter much to learn, to know, to understand. It matters to reborn. After you have learned, after you have you have read, after you have heard all that we are going to hear, to hear here or to listen, from this conversation. The important point is, what do we do to get born again as African people, to go back to the roots and to be born again as African people, which in French it's called Renaissance. That is the most important thing, because unless we get to that level of regenerating ourselves again, to let the old Africa die so that the new Africa can get born from us, then Africa will never change. So thank you very much. Without further ado, I'm going to call upon King Koveja to take us into the topic of today. As usual, after his presentation, we will open a space for then interactive discussion. Basically, it's about you telling us what you understand about the topic. So believe me, there's no wrong or right answer. It's not as you are kind of under pressure to feel like, no, anything that you feel about this topic, you are more than welcome to bring it on board to, enrich all of us. So thank you very much, King Koveya. Over to you. Please take over from here.
Thank you, King Kavala. I warmly welcome everybody at this August gathering, where we call it Free-Minded Academy, where we brainstorm and share knowledge about Africa struggle and how we can liberate Africa. Today's topic is simply about SANKOFA, going back to the roots or revert to the indigenous knowledge system of Africa. I only want to elaborate on the meaning of SANKOFA, though it's explained in English, going back to the roots, but its origination comes from Ghana. It's a Twi word, means go back to the ancestral roots. So it's typically a Ghanaian word, but it has been adopted internationally. And we have a symbol telling you see a bird turning the head back, showing that go back and take that precious knowledge you left behind you and make use of it. So
Sorry, am I the only one who can't hear King Koveya?
No,
you can't hear?
Yes, I
can. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear, I think.
Okay. I was trying to quote Marcus Garvey. He said Africa for the Africans at home and at abroad. So first, before I come back to the topic, I just want to ask a simple question. The question is just, who are you or who am I? What I can just tell you in the spiritual language is, you gathered here, you are a body which is a chariot. And all of us as human beings, we are souls too. You, my brother, here, you, my sister, here, we can say we are all souls. That's what I can, in spirituality, tell you. I see them with spiritual love. We need to see each other with that spiritual love. If really, can you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Clear by King. Proceed.
Loud and clear.
Thank you. So, as souls, we need to always share that kind of purity, peace, love, happiness, and bliss. If really we are eager for the world to stay in harmony and in cohesion. So you gathered here, you are a body in chariot, but in spirituality, you are a soul. And I just want to open up your mind that we have 5 ages of humanity, and that stages are golden age, the silver age, the copper age, the iron age, and the conference age. The iron age, the golden age, is the age of truth, and the silver age is the age of decline, where we have in Christendom, they say we disobey the command of God. So that kind of the oneness with God, we have abandoned it, and that kind cohesion or the love between the souls and the supreme soul has declined. So that is why we call it the Silver Age. The Copper Age is the age of reality. That means we are getting down, 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 and it's the age of reality. Then the Iron Age is the age of death, where a whole lot of criminality. We have distanced ourselves from the golden rules that makes us to look one with the Father or the Supreme Soul. So now the Iron Age is age of death, where I can make a reference to the slave trade and the scramble for Africa and a whole lot of between the ages of 1450 to 1900. There was a lot of misbehavior or activities that didn't show holistic life, because from that Silver Age there was a decline. So there was a reduction in the holy life of livelihood of people. So that's the spiritual scenario I wanted to give you in relation to we, the human beings or humanity, what actually made us to get divided all over the globe, and wars, the First World War, the Second World War, and whatever which is happening now, like the slave trade, and a whole lot of things. So I term it to be heaven to hell, because we were enjoying the age of truth, but for us to distance ourselves from being one with God and imbibe the values, the virtues of God, we have abandoned those virtues of purity, peace, love, happiness, and bliss. So that makes us all now to see that a whole lot of people migrate from Europe, as we learn from the conference. Us to be at where we are today. So I want to stress the point that we get an overview of why today there is a whole lot of conflicts in the world. That is the basis of why the conflicts all over the world, the globe. And I want to stress a point for us, that if there was perfect, why did we fall? If there was perfection, then why did we fall? Why did we leave the grace of God and enter sin? These are similar questions we have long debated, and many attempts to explain the fall of man and his subsequent banish from the paradise have been made. So those are an overview I wanted to give the audience here, to know that we have a cyclical movement as human beings, which is 500 years cyclical movement, which I just mentioned to you: the Golden Age, the Silver Age, copper age, iron age, and now we are in the conference age, which is the age of illumination, where the light is shining. It is the light that is shining on Africa. That light which was shining during the golden age, we are between the conference age, just means you are within two things. Within the iron age, which is the period of darkness, and the golden age. So the conference age is you are within the two. And Africa now is within the two, because we have been exploited. We have allowed our human capitals to be sent off the continent by the Eurocentric group of people, and they have used our human capital for the benefit of themselves. They have exploited our human resources to the benefit of themselves. So I name it for Africa the new beginnings. And that the new beginning, it was an origination of Marcus Garvey. The United States of Africa is a concept of a federation of some or all of the 54 sovereign states. The 54 sovereign states and 2 disputed states on the continent of Africa. The concept takes the origin from Marcus Garvey, 1924 poem, Hailed United States of Africa. The origins, the idea of a multinational unifying African states have been compared to various medieval African empires, including the Ethiopian Empire, the Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire, the Songhai Empire, the Benin Empire, the Kanem Empire, and other historic nation states. During the late 19th and 20th century, the majority of African land was controlled by various European empires, with the British controlling around 30% of the African population. At its peak, brothers and kings and queens, the term United States of Africa was mentioned first by Marcus Garvey in his power, Hail United States of Africa. In 1924, Garvey's ideas, formation, systems deeply influenced former African leaders and the rebirth of the African Union. In February 2009, upon being elected as Muammar Gaddafi, chairman of the 53 Nation African Union in Ethiopia, Muammar Gaddafi told the Assembly African leaders, I shall continue to insist that our sovereign countries work to achieve the United States of Africa. The BBC reported that Gaddafi had proposed single African military force. a single currency and a single passport for Africans to move freely around the continent. Other African leaders stated they would study the proposal's implications and rediscuss it in May 2019. So in all these doings, when Marcus Garvey and co were propounding on African unity or United States of Africa, Africa being one bloc, a power base, the Eurocentric group of people were still monitoring us. And you hear this, the BBC reported that Gaddafi had proposed a single African military force, a single currency, and a single passport for Africans to move freely around the continent. And this is the major concepts which African Continental Unity Party, the Free-Minded Academy, are advocating for us all to imbibe. These are the SANKOFA ideas I'm trying to propound here for us to know that Marcus Garvey in 1924, he was advocating for all this that African Continental Unity Party is propounding. And African Continental Unity Party and Free-Minded Academy are advocating that we should go back to the roots. We should SANKOFA, go and take your ancestral knowledge and make use of it. So there, when Gaddafi was advocating that, other African countries stated they would study the implications, and rediscuss it in May 2009. The focus for developing the United States of Africa so far has been building subdivisions for Africa. The proposed East African Confederation can be seen as an example of this. Former president of Senegal, Abdoulaye Wade, had indicated that the United States of Africa could exist as early as 2017, the African Union. By contrast, has set itself to take the building a united and integrated Africa by 2025. Gaddafi had also indicated that the proposed federation may extend as far as the Caribbean, Haiti, Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, the Bahamas, and other islands featuring a large African diaspora may be invited to join. Gaddafi also received criticism for his involvement in the movement and lack of support for the idea from among other African countries. A week before Gaddafi's death, during the Libyan civil war, South African President Jacob Zuma expressed relief at the regime's downfall, complaining that Gaddafi had been intimidating many African heads of states and governments in an effort to gain influence throughout the continent, and suggesting that the African Union will function better without Gaddafi, and his repeated proposal for a uniting African government. After the death of Gaddafi, Gaddafi was ultimately killed during the Battle of Sirte in October 2011. While some regard the project to have died with him, Robert Mugabe expressed interest in reviving the project. Following the 2017 Zimbabwe coup d'etat, Mugabe resigned as president. On 6 September 2019, Mugabe died on that September 6, 2009. The national views. The government of Ghana, Senegal, Zimbabwe have suggested, and others such as South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria have been more skeptical, feeling that the continent is not ready for North African countries such as Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, and post-revolution Libya, who have traditionally tried more with rival ideologies like Arab nationalism, Berberism, and Islamism, have shown less interest in the idea, making it Arabians pick North Africa to merge with Sub-Saharan Africa. Doubts have been raised about whether the goal of a united Africa can ever be achieved because of the many languages being spoken and ongoing problems of corruption, conflicts, tribalism, civil unrest, and poverty persisting throughout the continent and continuing to plague the people. The proposed federation would have the largest total territory of any state, exceeding the Russian Federation. It will also be the third most populous state after China and India, and with the population speaking an estimated 2,000 languages. So for us to take over and liberate on African unity, as was being propounded by African Continental Unity and the free-minded academy, for us as a continent to wake up from our slumbers, I think it should be whole on us that this is the time for Africa to go back. Our ancestors, Marcus Garvey, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Kenneth Kaunda, Nelson Mandela, and a host of Secretary Lumumba, all these people are our SANKOFA ancestors, which their knowledge should be embedded in us. And for us to be courageous like them, and the fight we have taken up now, we need to be courageous and united in spirit and in oneness. We shouldn't see each other as different people, though we have about 2,000 languages in Africa, but still, when we trace our history, we are one people. Because I am Ewe, but we migrated far away from Kemet, which is today Egypt. So you could see that we are interwoven. That's why the topic SANKOFA. The SANKOFA means go back to your roots, revert to your indigenous knowledge systems, and let's be one in spirit, in mind, in heart, as a block or as a nation, so that what Marcus Garvey in 1927, before we started even Nkrumah and Co. started advocating for African independence. You know, we have an agenda. From 1963 to 2063, we need to achieve this vision of Marcus Garvey. So Marcus Garvey's proposal is the SANKOFA. It is going back to your roots. Let us, as African countries or Africa country, I will not say African countries, I will say Africa country. Let us abandon the philosophies, the ideologies imported, the Eurocentric Western minister system of governance that is prevailing in Africa. The Uhuru system is our governance system, and the SANKOFA is our governance system. So, kings and queens, for me to pause here so that we can brainstorm together, my message is just simple, that with all what happened from East Africa, West Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, with the doubting Thomases, I think Nkrumah and Co. have cleared our mind, and they said Africa unity should be now. So I'm saying it should happen between this period of 1963 to 2063, a century. That is my proposal, like the way Marcus Garvey proposed it. Let's go and SANKOFA. Let's go back to the roots and take the proposal our ancestors, Marcus Garvey and Co., Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Kenneth Kaunda, Lumumba, and Co., because it's a genuine vision and they have planted the seed. Let us water the seed for the seed to germinate so that different branches and different birds can perch on the branches for our liberation and freedom as a continent, so that we can go into industrialization, building our human capital, and harnessing our natural resources so that we can become a giant. I listened to a video by a president from Sierra Leone. He was speaking at a United Nations Security Council. He made it plainly that Africa has been cheated, and now we have to equally. They have to eliminate the veto powers of US and other countries so that Africa two should be added to the Security Council so that two will be permanent and two will be temporary. And we here on the ground need to fight hard so that Africa is seen as a power base. Thank you for listening to me and imbibing my presentation. Kings and Queens, I pause here for the moderator to take up the brainstorming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, King Koveya. That was very powerful and wonderful. It's all about how do we go back to the roots? How do we go back to our indigenous culture and a way of life? I do remember the words by Dr. John Henry Clarke that say that people don't bring civilization to other people. People only bring the ways of life to other people. So some people have branded their ways of life as a civilization, and we made a mistake to embrace that and to believe that our ways of life were uncivilization or were uncivilized. And now we are finding ourselves following people who don't know where they are going. As Dr. John Henry Clarke himself said it long time ago in the last century, he said things that we see today. He said, we have put ourselves in motion to follow the people who are in conflicts or are in trouble with their family. Once people are in trouble with their family, they don't know what the family is. They are the people who we cannot really follow. But thank you very much. With no further ado, I'm gonna open the mic. I'm seeing already Queen Busisue. The mic is open. Queen, please give us your inputs in terms of this topic and everything that we've heard today.
Greetings, kings and queens.
Queen, yes.
King Koveya, it is as simple as you have put it. We can't simplify simplicity. Our spirituality is where we need to go, and spirituality evolves. Spirituality does not. We can have 2,000 languages, but through our spirituality, we will understand each other and we know exactly where we need to go and not follow foreigners, foreign beliefs, because everything else that is happening now and guiding how we should be living our lives is foreign. But our spirituality, the spirituality, the SANKOFA that we need to go back to, does not have one single language. And whichever way we are going to go back to it, we will be able to understand each other through the soil that is Africa. It is simple. All we need to do is go to it. Forward we go to our roots, the roots that we have dug under our feet. The language is the soil that we walk on, the Africa, the oneness that we talk about. That is the language. Thank you so much. It is clear and it is simple. We complicate it by the so-called modern, and the modern that we want to attach ourselves to is definitely foreign. King Kabbalah, you said at the beginning, there is a lot of money that is invested in keeping us in the dark. They can try. They will try. They will lose their money because we are no longer in the dark. We are in the golden age. Right here. The golden age is right here, and it will depend entirely on us if we recognize this age. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you very much, Queen. Well, Queen has spoken, of course. There's no way to simplify the simplification. I like that. Well, the floor is still open. I encourage everyone to come up with your contribution to this topic. What can we learn from you after you have heard the presentation, after you have thought about the topic? Please try to unmute yourself, then I'll be able to know that you want to talk, and I will call you out to talk. Who else want to bring some contribution here, please? The floor is open. Anyone with a contribution to what has been said? Yes, African, please go ahead.
Okay, so
I've seen two mics. Okay, let's go with
let the
African
first
Unity
one talk.
Empowerment. Please just introduce
Okay,
yourself, please, and then we get to know you, and then we go to King Arnold. The mic is open to you. Please go ahead.
all right. As you mentioned, my name, that's the name I can say, Africa Unity Empowerment, because I'm very proud citizen of Africa. I'm in Ghana, based in Accra. It has been a nice journey since, so far as the unity of Africa is concerned. I got to know that the unity is a must since 2018, when it was like a revelation that I saw that no, Africa, this is not what you should be. Stop whatever you are doing and go back and fight for Mother Africa. So that led me to join this movement of change, movement of liberation, movement of freedom. So today's topic, Queen Busisi said, I think, what was in my mind, and it is all about spirituality. One problem is Africa is we make mockery of our own selves. Sorry, I may speak in parable, but forgive me. We make mockery of our own selves. When we say let's go back to our, what does it mean? Let's say a chicken, after it has rolled a long way from a long journey away from its school, will definitely return when the night falls. You know, Africans, we left everything behind. We are now depending on some people. And my concern is about our religious background, our religion. We ignored our own religion. We demonized our own religion because some people elsewhere came to tell you and I that our religion is demonic, and we also believe it. And that is the reason why Africans are suffering. The spirit of our forefathers are no more following us. And you and I are aware that without the spirit of your home or the spirit of something backing you, your fight will be in vain. So at times, I just look at people on Facebook, the Africans, this, Africans, I look at them and say, look, you don't know what you're saying because you ignore. You come back and talk about, we need liberation, African liberation, but we'll go back to our churches, our mosques, and insult our own culture, our own tradition, our own religion. So we are making mockery of our own, like ourselves. So in fact, if you understand that, I would say, you should try thinking as Africans. When you start thinking as African, the day I got this revelation, I started thinking as African. I got to know that this religion is part of this mentality, or what we call mental slavery. It is an agenda. The introduction of religion is an agenda. Introduction of money is an agenda. Introduction of these imported food and chemicals and other things is an agenda. Education is an agenda. All this is to bring the downfall of Africa, because they know that no, if Africa rises, they are going to suffer. We say we are suffering, but we are not suffering. When we rise, they will suffer because of they don't want to suffer as we are doing. That's why they keep on bringing us down in each and every way. So if we will go back to our spirituality, I mean the spirit of our forefathers, invite your forefathers. Let's stop clapping. What you see, one thing before, and one thing is that I came to tell this group that I am your father. That is what happening in Africa. I came to tell this group that I am your father. This movement that I am your father. Fine. Whoever you think that he or she is your father or mother, ignore the person. I am your father. Now, as you accepted me as your father, I'm not doing what fathers does for his children. Now, because you insulted your father, you fought with your father before you left him, you can't go back. So you are now an orphan. That is happening to we Africans. I don't know if somebody will understand me. They told us that our forefathers are demons. So we every day in there we insult them, we even lash them in churches, talk evil of them. Now some what they said they will do to us, they are not doing it. So for us getting back to our father, it's now difficult. We can't go back to them. So we are in the middle, we are left off, we are now orphans. That's what is happening in Africa. So if you start thinking about think as an African, stay away from foreign religion. I know this thing people might not like, but that is the bitter truth. Yes, stay away from foreign religion. Let your ancestors speak to you. Let the spirit of African speak to you. When I start practicing African spirituality, I got more revelation than when I used to be a Muslim. Please, let's go back to our root. And spirituality is the first cause of us to attack before. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, King. Well said, definitely. No way to simplify the simplification. I think that's my favorite word this evening in terms of responding to the comments. So King Arnold, you were the next on the line before King Fanelo. King Arnold, please unmute yourself. Tell us what you have in mind. Over to you, please.
Thank you. Good evening, King and Queens. Also, the subject today, it is so interesting, especially from our King. You know, for the past days, I've been asking myself a question. How do we unite Africans? All of us, the statements have gone forth from our leaders, from archives of history. The question is how and what methodology we should use. Then when I sat down looking in history, any unification that is done by man is always it's got its rules on a book. On that book, they will tell you the constitution, the mission, the mission, you know, all those, the weaknesses, the strength, all those type of things. Now, Africa, we've never had that type of a thing. Unity, because our unity is a spiritual one. So how do we unite Africans? The basic, the foundation, the reference is to identify or is to put spirituality as the basic, as the reference. Now, when you have done that, automatically you conscientize their intellectuals, their intelligence, and they become conscious. It's got nothing to do with the rules, regulation that you must follow. Because when you are a spiritual person, you don't need 10 commandments for you to be told, respect your parents, don't kill the next person. You don't need that. Because that spirituality is the energy, is the life force, is the one that is in you, that is controlling you. So our precious King, he asked if the main important thing, who are we? All of us, As long as you are of the mind following words that as you see me, you only see the outside, the flesh or the physique, but inside of me, there's a creator. I can't use the word mini God because I'll be spoiling everything, but you've got a creator in you. All of us, we've got a creator in us. Now, this question is so important that if you want to unite, you see, that's the same question that has been asked by many people. All of us, we came as individuals on this planet. We've got different manners, different ways. Sometimes some people like these fruits. We've got different type of appetite, likes, colors, and so forth, right? So the only thing that can make us to be in one is spirituality. So what do we mean by spirituality? It means the following, that the cosmos, right? Cosmos, ecology, environment, and human beings is 4 segments. So immediately you realize that you are the same with what is outside of you in terms of ecology, environment, and cosmos. That's why our flesh is accumulation of the food that we got from the soil, this flesh. What we breathe in, the oxygen, is what is all in the environment. So immediately you are in harmony with the 4 sectors. Firstly, your fellow human being, what is outside of you, the planet, the grass, and everything, you realize you are in harmony. Then you are in a spiritual path. By so doing, it means now unity is not one whereby we have to account to a certain code of conduct, let's say from United Nations, and say, please look at me, we are united. No, we don't go that way. We are united, we won't fight one another, we'll recognize one another, because the spiritual aspect, that's the one that is guiding us. So when we go to the social aspect of life, in social aspect, that's where we'll be dealing with the land, the food, culture, tradition. Because we've got the foundation spirituality, then immediately we are about to start working, viewing the physical things that we see, then we will be in harmony. We'll work, we'll find the results. Let me not go far. I'll just stop here. I thank you.
Thank you very much, King Arnold, for that wonderful insight. I think spirituality has been mentioned by almost everyone who has spoken so far. That is the center point for our rebirth or our return to the roots as African people. So I'm seeing King Obet, you are having the mic on, but let me just go quickly to King Fanelo, and then I'll come back to you. King Fanelo, you had your mic on at some point. I don't know if you had.
I think let's exhaust everyone, and then I will jump in. You will call me once no one opens the mic.
All right, great, thank you. Then I've got King Obet. King Obet, you had your mic on for not long ago. Are you able to talk, King Obet? Sorry, my background noise. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, greetings, kings and queens. Yeah, I was enjoying the lecture, and I don't have much to say, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot tonight, and I'm looking forward to see Africans reaching that point where we become conscious of who we really are and do the right thing as the original people whom the Creator have trusted with so much gifts, talents, and diversity. I think the reason that we have so many languages, tribes, and different ethnic groups, that shows how rich Africa is. We may be the third biggest population in the world from China and India, but we remain the best in everything: culture, resources, spirituality. We are the most gifted and resourceful people in the whole world. So I'm so encouraged to hear elders speaking in such a manner, and this encourages us, the young people, to stand up and encourage others in us and do the right thing as Africans. Much.
Thank you so much, King. That was great. That was great. Do we still have people who have comments to make? We still have a few minutes left. If you have something to add on what has been said, please come on board. King Funnel, over to you, please. Go ahead.
Greetings, kings and queens. Thank you so much, King Koveya, for sharing wisdom with us. You are actually taking me back to the root as we speak, because one of the fundamental things that sets us apart as Africans, it's that we value family. Africans have always lived in harmony. And you almost often had multi-generation in one estate. So you would find that the elders of every house, they are still there. The kids and their kids are still there. Sons are all staying in the estate. They bring and grow their families there. So therefore, the fundamental reason why we have been lost as a generation and as a people, it's because the family structure has been broken apart. It continues to be broken apart. And what King Koveyao, reminds me is that right now we have to recognize it, that, this is what it's about. It's about having multi-generations sitting around the fire. We always had fire, and we always had music. We always had song and dances. We always told stories, and the stories were passing knowledge, how things became. And Africans were always great storytellers, and this is who we are. In fact, this is why all the knowledge that you know of any ancient history actually belongs to our ancestors. First human beings were Africans, and first writers and scientists and explorers were Africans. The first architects and builders of structures and cities were African, and the first navigators across the seas were Africans. So we knew how to build boats, and we knew how to protect each other, look after each other. Ubuntu, it's a signature that is left by the natives across the globe, because we are one with nature. We recognize, Africa is the only continent that never had idols. We don't have an idol. If we have an idol, it came any images. In fact, we do not have images. Neither do we make carved images or pictures of anything. So anything that worships what human beings have made, any ideologies that come from humans, it's not part of us. We never believe that, because we were always spiritually awoke, and we always recognize that we are spirit beings. We're not just physical. So the idea that we should live in flesh only, make judgment and decisions in our body, it's a foreign thing. It came with scientists who believed there was no creator. Therefore now you leave humanity to make their choices. And yes, humanity has made their choices, and they have brought destruction to family. They have brought destruction to knowledge and knowledge of truth. They've invented deceptions and lies for gains. Why today, if you look across the globe, there is a plague with people who don't love truth, who love deception. So the whole social media spaces, Facebook, Instagram Live, it's just a fluff. It's about showing things that are not. It's about glitter and glamour. It's about things that shine, and that was never who we are as Africans. We valued each other. Ubuntu said, we recognize that I come from a bloodline of ancestors. There is a rich heritage in my family line, and I do not forget that, and I value that, and I'm always grateful for that. That's the first thing. We understand and acknowledge that we have families, we have brothers, we have sisters, and we have our elders, and therefore we respect unity, we respect harmony, we respect wisdom. Yeah, you see, we knew where to go and look for knowledge. We went to our elders, right? So the pollution comes because family structures have been broken. Now, if we have we've lost the identity, because you were supposed to know who you are from your family structures. If you were living and you were still in touch with your family elders, then you would not be lost in terms of where your people come from, the narration of your stories. Then you would be, knowing your family tree. And we're talking about going back to the root. How far can you go back on your own family tree right now? How far do you know the legacy and the heritage that is directly in your immediate tree of your family? And how far can you go back on that family tree? Because if all humanity were to do that exercise, you would then realize that, hang on, we are all actually, we are family. We are one. We have exactly been made by the Creator, and we are all the same. We are brothers and sisters. If you reverse engineer humanity, we all converge into a single parent who was an African, a single mother who was an African. And therefore, because of that generation and the knowledge they have preserved in tablets, in stones, in all kinds of things, they created rock art and painted for passing a information to the next generation, to future generations. Today we celebrate these things, we call them artifacts. They are in European museums. We learn about them from Europeans when they struggle to decode the language, because somehow something went wrong. There was brokenness in family structures. that interrupted that knowledge to come all the way to our generation. If I am now going to be taught in school and in universities, in all fields, in healthcare, in medicine, in engineering, if I'm going to be taught by Europeans, then I'm already lost, because I should have been taught by my elders, my family. I should have been already, this information should have been shared, because those people love me. They don't want to manipulate me. They don't want to abuse me. They don't want to enslave me. They don't want to rule over me. I am sovereign. And you had that freedom. And there was no jurisdiction. I mean, everybody could access natural resources, land, for you to produce your own food with your own hands. Therefore, there's no GMO. Therefore, there's no toxic farming chemicals. We use animal manure, and you eat your own chicken. It's more healthy. Maybe this is what we're talking about. Go back to the root. Maybe we need to produce our own chicken, our own eggs. And we used to have our own milk. We never bought milk in cartons. So perhaps the value of that was there was no sickness then. If there was sickness in every home, there was herbs. That was knowledge among the generations that are there, that this herb is good for tummy aches. This herb is good for pain management. This herb is good for this, because my grandmother gave birth to 8 children by herself, and never went and had epidural, never had clinics or hospitals. In fact, he taught that to everyone else who came. So in Africa, every family was self-sufficient. They never had to go hire labor or go pay someone to come and do anything. Not to build homes, not to produce and cultivate crops, not to raise all knowledge, whether healing or whether sing music, storytelling, or writing or dancing. Things are taught from one generation to the next. There was no disruption. Now we have to buy books, we have to buy knowledge, we have to go to different schools and be taught by. In fact, if you notice, every book in education circulation in university, we quote European writers, even archaeologists, but we do not quote our own people. The last time we quote our people, it was we can quote now Abon Kwame Nkrumah, we can quote now Abo Marcus Garvey, we can quote now the Egypt and say, oh, there were writings, there were libraries and libraries there. But okay, what about this generation where we are? We need to connect the line. The line was broken, because definitely our ancestors used to write. Definitely our ancestors used to innovate and travel. Definitely our ancestors dream big. I mean, think about Marcus Garvey. Think about all of these. They are part of our legacy and heritage as a people. They dream big. So that means we are living in the cloud of witnesses. As a generation, we have the King Kovayaus in Amis, King Arnold, who are carrying this knowledge and passing it down to us as we speak. Now, this, what is happening right here, it's exactly in a era of illumination, knowledge, truth, restoration.
Can I be heard?
Yes, yes.
Sorry,
Yes,
I had a glitch.
Yeah, I noticed that you went mute.
Oh, is it?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I think your conclusion probably was not heard. Do you want to just repeat your conclusion?
I'm not even sure where I was lost, but I think what it is back to basics just means we need to restore the family legacy. We need to go back and be one with our elders, be one with our siblings, brothers, sisters, be one with our ecosystem of family. That's how we start unity. That's how we start unity. Unity is learned at home. And then spirituality is also mastered and learned at home, not by foreign people. So you can't have Muslims come and tell you. You can't have Europeans come and tell you. It has to be family. And that's where the basics are. And we are storytellers. Let's write these things. Let's organize these things. Let's restore. This is the era we are in. It's the era of illumination. That's what King Koveya was saying to us. So let's take advantage of that flow, that we understand where we are now in a timeline of history. We need to celebrate and connect the dots. We need to restore family. We need to restore spirituality. We need to go back and produce and be self-sufficient and produce things that we need and never buy these things from foreigners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, King Fanelo. Well said. Well, for the sake of time, we will then invite King Koveya to give us his final analysis from every comments that have been made. I don't know if you have any concluding word that you want to give us before we depart. King Koveya, the mic is back to you, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the contributions everybody make was fantastic, and the point I just want to stress is we should build the consciousness as Africans, and the agenda we have between 1963 to 2063 needs to be achieved. And I just want to read something from a book entitled African Concept of God, Creation and the Fundamentals of Spirituality and Science. One Colonel James Churchward, he said, the children of Mu and the lost continent of Mu. The continent of Mu was the place where Hamu, popularly known as Amu, the first race of the human beings, appeared on the surface of planet Earth about 250,000 years ago. It was from here that all human beings spread to other parts of the earth, as indicated by Colonel James Churchward in his book, The Lost Continent of Mu. The Mu continent was between northeastern Australia and Mexico. The last remnants of Mu are Fiji, Tonga, Honolulu, Hawaii, and the other South Sea islands. The dominant race of Mu was known as Hamu or Amu, as indicated by Churchward. The children of Mu, some selected groups left Mu before it was destroyed by the greatest cataclysmic deluge. This selected group named themselves differently in many places. When they settled in the Decca in India, they were known as Naga. In Babylon, again, as Hamu, Rabbi, the teacher. In Egypt, as Amu, and in West Africa, they were known as Ghana. Colonel Churchward has indicated that the Amu Naga of Ghana brought symbols with them that showed clearly that the letters of the Adagana were already formed long ago before they came out of Mu about 5,000 years ago. So this Mu they are talking about is we the Africans. So we are, when we talk of the true humanity, we are the people. You see, only the Eurocentric group, the Europeans, they were only stealing our gift of nature and trying to tell us rather that we are non-entities. So we shouldn't, this Hot Nkrumah and Co, Marcus Garvey and Co, sin because they read a lot. So they understand, like the Henry Clark, always I listen to his commentary. Those people all know that Africa, we are the dominant people. Twice, they are nobody. So we shouldn't give up. Within the period of 1963 to 2020, we should achieve our goals. This is what I can share for the concluding time for us to go and think over. And we meet again. Let's be conscious of what we are doing. It's very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, King, for the wonderful contribution. So I'm going to call upon King Jovanis to close the meeting. I don't know if he has any final comment. Then we can close the meeting, and the room will remain open for any general discussion if there's any, but otherwise the meeting will be officially closed, and we'll meet next Wednesday for another new program that will start from next Wednesday for up to the 2nd of September. Very interesting. We invite you all to be part of this, so that it can be successful. King Jovanis, do you have anything that you want to say to conclude the meeting?
Thank you so much, King Kabbalah, for the honor. It's a great honor to speak after such great kings. King Covey, thank you so much for such a wonderful presentation. Basically, it always sounds weird, or the propaganda behind going back to the roots. Whenever we talk about African going back to the ancestral knowledge, people think that it's about going back to the old age, or doing two things the old way. But really, truly, our old age, or our life before the encounter we have with oppressors has been glorious. When you look at the empire we have had before the invaders came, we have had a glorious past, and I believe that going forward with the knowledge, the ancestral knowledge, we can definitely build a greater empire. We can definitely build a great Africa that will actually stand in the middle of the world, and then create a better world. For me, I think, thank you so much for all the contribution. I have learned a lot from all the intervention, and then I think we can now get ready for our next session. Always come here with the idea that we are sharing knowledge. Thank you so much. I'll end it here, and then King Kabbalah, as you said, we can literally stay for unofficial engagement if you want to, else we can also call it a day. Bye.